neck and neck with Bill Belichick is the Red Sox and their acquisition of Garrett Crochet at the winter meetings, something we've been pining for, a move that the Red Sox have made. And fortunately, it sounds like they're not done. But we don't have the answers on that, Keefe.
Who does?
We have lots of opinions.
Yes, we do.
Many, many thoughts. Mm-hmm. Some of them good, some not so good.
Right.
So let's get some answers here from someone who would know. That would be Chief Baseball Officer of the Boston Red Sox, Craig Breslow, joining us here on Jones and Keefe on WEEI. Craig Breslow, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
We're doing great, much better after the move yesterday. We admittedly were starting to freak out a little bit as the winter meetings went on, and the Red Sox hadn't netted anyone. Now Garrett Crochet, a Boston Red Sox. What are the Red Sox getting in Garrett Crochet?
Yeah, I think we're incredibly excited about what Garrett is capable of doing. I think we're getting a bona fide number one starter guy who can anchor a rotation, has just premium stuff from the left side, and think that his best days are ahead of him. Obviously still new to the starting role, and a ton of reason for excitement and optimism, but like huge stuff, huge strikeout numbers. And I think that's something that is going to be a great boost to the rotation.
You know, there was a lot said about Garrett Crochet last year at the trade deadline. Is it to your understanding that he will pitch under this current contract, or is he going to need a new contract?
No, I mean, we are, looking at this as right now we've got a guy that's got 2 years of control, and, we are approaching this with no restrictions. Obviously, anything beyond that we'll explore when the time is right. But right now we're focused on 25 and 26 and being able to write his name in at the top of the rotation.
But there was no understanding that when you traded for him that he wouldn't pitch unless he had a new deal, because that was some of the conversation last year at the trade deadline. If he went to a contender, he wasn't going to throw unless he got a brand new deal.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I am concerned, this is a guy who has a full season as a starter under his belt, and someone that's ready to take on the full workload of a true ace.
You mentioned you just said true ace right there. You mentioned pencil him in at the top of the rotation. We're all excited about him, but there is a question about why the White Sox would move on if he's a bona fide ace. He's young, he's talented, he's cost-controlled. So why was he available in the first place? Yeah,
I don't think it makes a ton of sense to try to talk about whatever motivation or incentive another team had. I think we're incredibly excited about the fact that we're able to get him, and oftentimes these things come together simply because teams are kind of in a different place in terms of their priorities and their focus on winning in the short term.
So let me ask another way, because it's fair to not try to get in their mind of another team. For all his talents, there are some red flags, right? Injuries, there's not a super long track record at the big league level, the contract demands that Keefe brought up. What was the process you went through to become comfortable with those red flags?
Yeah, so these conversations, they started a year ago around Garrett. And then there are certain times during the year where naturally they flare up again, obviously around the trade deadline and then the winter meetings, GM meetings. And so we've got pretty extensive history, around the conversations and getting comfortable with Garrett, the performance, the stuff, the medical, and so we feel very comfortable with the work that we've done. Our medical team reviewing his history, and most importantly, looking at the fact that he threw 150 innings as a starter last year, 150 dominant innings.
There was a report from Ken Rosenthal in The Athletic that says, quote, after getting burned on 9-figure contracts for Sale and David Price, Red Sox owner John Henry is reluctant to award long-term deals to pitchers. So I don't know if there's anything you could say. Can you confirm that, deny that for us? Because I know a lot of fans want the team to spend this year, want the team to be aggressive, and then read something like this and are kind of disappointed.
Yeah, what I can say is I feel like we have the complete support from ownership to put a team on the field that is capable of contending for the division and making a deep postseason run. It's up to me, it's up to the team that we have in baseball operations to determine the best baseball decisions. But from a resources standpoint, we feel like we are very well supported.
Chief Baseball Officer of the Boston Red Sox, Craig Breslow, joining us here on WEEI. So, with all respect, we see you guys linked to a lot of players over the years. I think the last time aggressively the organization, and you just got here a year ago, but the last time the organization landed a big ticket free agent at the winter meetings might have been David Price. And so, Story was signed late. JD Martinez was signed late. You guys were linked to Juan Soto and made offers to Juan Soto. You made offers to Max Fried. Why should we believe in the resources committed there are real and not just the Red Sox are, as you get referred to from time to time, the interest kings?
Sure, I understand, and I think it's a fair question. But the reality is players make decisions about where they want to play for all kinds of reasons. And, once players get to free agency, they have the right, they've earned the right to determine, the team they'll play for the first time. And so, we will, and we have and will continue to identify players that we think improve our team. Will make aggressive pursuits. And, my hope, my expectation is that we're going to continue to improve the team. And I think, there's always momentum and excitement and enthusiasm when 30 teams get together, whether that's the trade deadline, the GM meetings, the winter meetings, to kind of accelerate transactions. But there will be some great decisions that were made at the winter meetings. There will be some decisions that probably won't play well over time, but the offseason is a long way from being over.
We always, especially around this time, are coming up with our different lineups that we'd like to see out there for the Red Sox and, maybe moving players around. And one name that gets brought up a lot is Rafael Devers. And not that he's moving off the team, but maybe moving off of third base. And Alex Cora was really adamant that he signed as a third baseman and he is a third baseman. I'm curious if you feel the same way, because a lot of us say, he's led the league in errors for 7 straight years. Maybe he isn't an everyday third baseman.
Yeah, no, Rafael Devers is our third baseman, and we're really excited about that. I think last year we saw some improvement in terms of the way he was able to move, particularly to his left, which had not been as comfortable for him as to his right. And then toward the middle of the season, after there was a stretch where he almost single-handedly carried the team for a number of weeks, he had knee injury, 2 shoulder injuries. I think that affected him probably more than he was willing to let on, because he wanted to play every day, wanted to do whatever it is that he could to help our team win. And so he is working hard right now. We've obviously made some changes to our coaching staff and feel like we're going to get the best out of him.
There was a report the other day from Mass Live. Sean McAdam cited an industry source. The Red Sox have interest in Alex Bregman. Alex Cora and Sam Kennedy are known to be big proponents of Bregman. The same source said members of baseball ops, including Chief Baseball Officer Craig Breslow, are more circumspect when it comes to the player. Is that accurate?
I don't think it makes any sense at all to talk about any individual players or free agent pursuits. I'm obviously aware of what was written. It came as a surprise, and I would say that Alex, Sam, baseball operations have incredibly open, honest conversations around a whole host of things, and there's nothing here. We'll continue to make the best decisions that we can collectively to put the best team on the field, and that's really it.
A lot has been made of the what was the big 3, then it became the big 4 for prospects in the system. Kyle Teal, obviously a part of the Garrett Crochet trade, but Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, Marcelo Mayer. I'm curious, as of right now, and I know it's early, but do you project those guys breaking through and being a part of the Major League roster this year, assuming they're still on the team?
Yeah, it's really difficult to forecast timelines outside of saying that, a move like trading for Garrett, I believe, strongly signals that we are serious about competing in 2025. And along with that goes the reality that we need to put the best team on the field that we can across the players that are in the organization. So if any of those guys, if all of those guys, if none of those guys, is ready to help our team, then we'll make those decisions accordingly. The way that I think about this is that, we have a number of really exciting young players who have already emerged at the big league level, and a number of others, like the guys that you just mentioned, and Christian and Marcelo and Roman and others who are likely to impact our team as soon as 2025. And it could be early in 2025, but I don't think it makes a ton of sense to pressurize that timeline right now.
You guys have been linked to some big ticket free agent arms. You've been linked to some arms on the trade market as well. Sounds like you're not done. Is it fair to expect another frontline starter in free agency or via trade?
It's really hard to kind of share what we should expect, because if I've learned anything over the last 7 to 10 days, there are moments in time where you feel like something is really close, and at the drop of a hat, it feels like you're miles apart. The one thing that I can absolutely affirm is that we will continue to be aggressive in our pursuit of any path to improving our team, and that could come via starting pitching. It could come via a right-handed bat to help balance out the bullpen. The lineup, and we'll continue to build out the bullpen.
The first player, speaking of the bullpen, first player you guys signed in free agency was Aroldis Chapman. I'm curious, what did you see in him, and did his off-field stuff give you any pause in signing him?
Sure. So actually, the first guy that we signed was another left-handed reliever in Justin Wilson that kind of went under the radar, but another proven left-handed veteran arm with good velocity and the ability to generate swings and misses. But sure, we're really excited about what Aroldis brings on the field, just in terms of an absolutely dominant fastball, one that has excited fans, players, teammates for a really long time, and it was something that we were sorely lacking, was swing and miss, and particularly swing and miss from the left side. So I think from a baseball perspective, it really checks that box. And then, look, of course, there was a very, very serious incident that took place with Aroldis, and a suspension that followed, after MLB's investigation. And it's something, any violation of the domestic violence policy is something that we take incredibly seriously, and we did an extensive workup and try to collect as much information as we possibly can in speaking to teammates, officials, coaches, front office, and this is a player who has been in good standing with 5 organizations, and it wasn't that the references and testimonials that we got back were lukewarm. They were effusive with respect to the impact that Aroldis has had on teammates in the clubhouse, his diligent work ethic, the way that he has mentored some of the younger players, particularly some of the young Latin players. And so ultimately, we had to balance all of these considerations. We spoke with a number of people within our organization to make sure that we understood what we were doing, and at the end of the day, felt comfortable moving forward.
Okay. He is Red Sox Chief Baseball Officer Craig Breslow joining us here on WEEI. Craig, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much. Keep up the good work there at the winter meetings, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks. Have a great morning, guys.
All right, Craig, thank you.
All right, thanks to Craig Breslow joining us here on Jones and Keefe on WEEI.